Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. If you're thirsty, you need water. You can't quench your thirst without water. If you want to find peace, you have to have God. These are axioms. These are axioms that we need to understand. We need water to quench our thirst. We need God to bring peace into our existence. No matter what we do in the world, no matter what we accomplish in the world, we're not going to find peace unless we bring God into our lives. God sent the angel Israel to the four corners of the world to get dirt. And he brought the dirt to God. And God made man's heart out of this dirt, out of this earth. And the earth contained with it many things. There was water and fire and oil and gold and precious gems and all of the different metals. And everything is contained within that earth. All of creation came from that earth. And so all of creation is within our hearts. Ignorance is within our hearts. And wisdom is within our hearts. Darkness is within our hearts. And light is within our hearts. Heaven is within our hearts. And hell is within our hearts. And the possibility of Allah coming into our heart is there. And Satan certainly also tries to find a home there. This heart must be cultivated in the same way that a crop is cultivated. And when one plants a crop, one has to be very careful in the preparation of the soil, in watering, and all the other things that need to be done. And if one isn't very careful, then weeds grow and grass grows, and these things do away with the ability of the crop that you want to grow to grow. Like that, the mind has all of these extraneous thoughts. We have all of these energies inside of us. And all of these energies are like weeds that push away truth, weeds that dispel wisdom, weeds that bring about ignorance, weeds that take us in all of the wrong directions. There are so many energies within us. There are hundreds of thousands, millions, trillions of energies within us. Yet, if we follow these earthly energies, we will not find the truth of who we are. We will only be finding the various nooks and corners and crevices within our mind, and that's where they will take us. The most important thing that we can do is to become a true man. The most important thing that we need to accomplish is to become a true man. If we don't do that, then we are beasts. And what is it that beasts do? They spend their life chasing their desires. They spend their life trying to accumulate that which they desire. Beasts believe that their life is desire and then fulfilling that desire. And that goes on in some men over and over and over until they pass away. And all they've done is chase desires. And these desires have many different forms. These desires have the form of material things. Then they also have the form of fame and the form of power, the form of titles, the form of separating ourselves from others to make ourselves more important than others. But what they are and what they do, these desires, is separate us from man and separate us from God. And the result of what we think we are chasing these desires for, to find some peace, to find some satisfaction, is unavailable to us. It can't be gotten. If somebody wants water, they have to do some research. They have to find out where water is available. And then they have to dig. If you dig on top of a mountain looking for water, you're not going to find much water. You have to get closer to sea level. You have to get closer to where the water actually is. And if you dig appropriately, and if you find a stream, then you will get water. And if you know how to create a well or a pump, then you will have water as you need it. Man also needs to figure out how to find God's qualities. Man needs to understand what God's qualities are and where they are available. For instance, if you want to promote God's qualities within yourself, you need to be around people who have God's qualities. If you're around people who are the opposite of God's qualities, the tendency is to become like them. And those people will take you to places that are other than God's qualities. So you should understand first, you need to be around good people. You need to be around people who will encourage the growth of God's qualities within you. Then you have to begin to understand what these qualities are. And you have to establish them, recognize them, and bring them into your being. One of the ways to understand the nature of these qualities is to be with a being who has these qualities. We call such a being a sheikh, a teacher. And what is he a teacher of? He's a teacher of these qualities. He becomes a mirror for you of these qualities. And once you have that mirror in your life, once that mirror becomes part of your functioning, then you can always turn to that mirror and look and see those qualities. Then you'll also recognize those qualities in yourself. If you want to keep your hair combed, you look in a mirror and your hair will consistently be combed. But if you don't look in a mirror, you can't tell what your hair looks like. When I get up in the morning, my hair sticks up in about 94 different directions. And if I don't do something about it, I will be walking through the day with my hair in 94 different directions. Now, most people who know me know what my hair looks like, but that's not what my hair looks like. That took effort. That took grooming. It took a little bit of time. I keep it short, so it takes less time. It took a little bit of time in front of a mirror in order to do that. Well, we need a mirror to find our qualities. And then if we have that mirror to show us our qualities, we can be more consistent within our qualities, because man has a tendency to forget, and the mirror reminds us. When I look into the mirror in the morning, I see, God, my hair is out of sorts again. When I look into a mirror that is the sheikh, I can tell, how are my qualities at this moment? What is the nature of who I am? What is my temperament? What is my state? Now, we can also tell what our state is in our relationship with other people. Now, one of the more important relationships in all of our lives, if we're married, is our marriage. And we need to maintain a consistent relationship within our marriage. In the same way that we are not allowed to steal in the world, we are not allowed to cause harm in the world. In order to have a positive relationship in a marriage, you can't have resentment. You can't begrudge the other party. You have to be totally open. If you can accomplish that, if the two of you can set up a relationship that when you are together and when you are with each other, you are both giving to each other as much as you can and opening yourself up to each other as much as you can, the consistency that we're looking for in our lives will be easier to accomplish, because we have decided that this is going to be a consistent relationship. Well, to maintain a consistent relationship, what do you have to do? You have to maintain consistent qualities. And these qualities will take you beyond that relationship into the rest of your life. And you can maintain that consistency in every portion of your life. So your wife or your husband becomes like a sheikh for you. They remind you of the mood that you're in, and you can react with them to make sure that the mood becomes appropriate. When my wife and I were first married, I was working, and my work was consuming me at the time. And this lasted for a period of about 3 years, where I actually thought very heavily about what I did, and I brought it home with me. And I would come home agitated, aggravated, like that. And my wife would react to that agitation and aggravation by becoming agitated and aggravated herself. And she said, oh, if you're going to be grumpy, I can be grumpier. And then she realized one day that when I came home, I was the same every day. I was a bit grumpy. And then she had a choice. She could join me in that attitude, or she could be something else. So she decided that she was going to change the nature of what was going on. So when I came home, she said, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a sandwich? Would you like something to eat? What can I do for you? And it changed the mood. We have to become mature enough to change the mood. But to be able to do that, to be able to bring about this joy, this peace that we're looking for, we have to know what God's qualities are. We have to know how it is that we can access them in our lives in the same way that we dig for water in order to quench thirsts. We have to dig for God's qualities in order to bring peace into our being. And bringing peace into our being brings peace into the being of all those around us. It works that way. We have to look at the right places for cleanliness. We have to look at the right places to become purified. A cat doesn't use water to wash itself. It uses its saliva. And with its saliva, it grooms itself. Not a very clean way to groom yourself. Imagine grooming yourself with your spit. Well, we need water to groom ourselves, but to become truly clean, we need God's qualities to clean ourselves. And if we use God's qualities to clean ourselves, the mere fact that we are interacting with God's qualities, the mere fact that we are conscious of the fact that we need these qualities in order to bring about purity within ourselves, cleanliness within ourselves, peace within ourselves. The mere fact that we're conscious of that will bring about consistency in who we are and will make life easier for us. If we try to groom ourselves using the world, we're only going to become more and more and more attached to the world. No matter how beautiful you make this body, no matter how much makeup you apply to this body, no matter how much you groom this body will not bring you peace. This body is elemental, and it does what the elements do. It eventually falls apart. So when you're looking for peace in the wrong places, you're not going to find it. You're going to find what those places have to give. And if you look for peace within the world or in worldly ways, you're going to find instability because the world is not stable. So as you look for peace within the world, you're going to find instability. You can only find peace where stability exists, and stability only exists within God's qualities. So you'll find peace within justice. You'll find peace within mercy. You'll find peace within compassion. You'll find peace within kindness. You'll find peace within love. You'll find peace within giving. You'll find peace within sharing. You'll find peace within giving up differences. You'll find peace when you begin to understand unity, and peace will come. This body is a cage that's holding our soul, but this cage is not the truth of our freedom. We're not going to find our freedom within this body. A parrot in the jungle makes a home inside a small hole in a tree. And there's not a lot of room in this small hole. Yet, the parrot is incredibly happy within this small hole because it understands its freedom is right outside of the hole and it can go wherever it wants. But if you put that same parrot into a cage that could be 10 times the size of the hole that it lives in the tree, the bird will scream and carry on and be uncomfortable because it knows it's limited by that cage. There's no escape from it. Well, when we're limited by this cage, there's no escape from this, The only escape from this is when the cage dies. But what we need to understand and what we need to learn is our true home is not this cage. Our true home is God's qualities. Light is where God's qualities exist. Our true home is in that light. God's qualities are formless. They do not have the form that this cage has. We are light beings. Light cannot be confined, yet our mind confines us to believing that we are this body and that we live within this body and that we live within this world and we find our satisfaction from this world. But this world can never satisfy. And even though we are born into this world, we are not of this world. We are not of the elemental nature of the world. We are of light, and our soul is a pure light that longs to be at home within the light. So we need to find, we need to comprehend, we need to imbibe, we need to become those qualities that are light. And then our soul can find a place of peace because it finds its true home. Its true home is where those qualities exist. And when those qualities exist, we become different because wisdom enters into us as those qualities enter into us. Why? How? Wisdom is the point of view, the understanding that comes from God's qualities, from having God's qualities. Ignorance is having the egocentric point of view of the world and believing in the reality of the world and functioning with the need to acquire the world and to hold on to the world. This ignorance belies the fact that this is a temporary situation. There's no escape from it other than to leave it in its entirety. And that's going to happen whether we want to or not. So everybody holds on to it as if they were never going to leave it. People begin to accumulate the world. They accumulate goods, they accumulate form, and they accumulate titles. It's said that as you become more and more and more important in the world, as you have more and more and more things in the world, you become like a donkey that's walking around with all of the burdens that a donkey carries. There were a man and his son who were going to go to market, and they had a donkey with them. And the father was riding on the donkey, and his son was walking in front of the donkey. And as they passed people, the people would say, "Look at that. This old man is letting this little boy walk. The little boy should be sitting on the donkey, and the old man should be pulling the donkey." So they heard this and they changed places. And the little boy got on the donkey, and the father walked beside it. And then as they walked, they said, "Will you look at this? That little boy feels that he should be on the donkey, and he's letting this old man walk. And the old man has so many years, the young boy's young, and he's letting him walk." So they thought, and then they decided, well, we'll both walk. We'll both ride on the donkey. So they're both riding on the donkey. And as they walked by, people said to them, "Look at these two of them on the donkey. The poor donkey can barely hold one of them, and now he's being forced to hold two of them." So they get off the donkey, and they tie the donkey's legs, put a long pole between them, and they carry the donkey. And then as they walk, people say to them, look at these idiots. They have a donkey, and instead of riding the donkey, they're carrying the donkey. So they cut the donkey off, they put the donkey down, and they think. They said, there doesn't seem to be a solution to this. The only solution seems to be to let the donkey go. Let's each go our own way, and we'll meet at the market. So they cut the donkey off its pole. They let the donkey go, and they each go towards the market. They became free of the donkey. And what's the donkey? The donkey is our minds. The donkey is our burdens. The donkey is all of the things that we carry. Sometimes we think we're riding it. Sometimes we think it's riding us. Sometimes it's carrying us. Sometimes we carry it. But we're always with the donkey. We have to let go of the donkey in its entirety. We have to be done with him. And when we're done with him, we can then find truth. We have to go alone on this path. We have to go by ourselves towards truth and towards peace. And then, as we move in that direction, everyone we run into, we have to share that truth and that peace that we have. A dog hunts for itself and catches what it catches for itself to eat. But then a man will catch the dog and train him how to hunt for what he wants. And then the dog goes and hunts for what the man wants. And when he catches what he wants, the man takes it, and the dog is left with nothing. This is Satan's ploy. Satan teaches us to desire the world, and he teaches us how to hunt for the world. He teaches us how to accumulate the world. He teaches us how to get the things of the world. And then when we get them, we believe they're going to do something for us. And the truth is, we've done all of this collecting for Satan, because what we need to be collecting is something else entirely. There's a story of an Arab who came to the prophet, and he said, Satan is constantly bothering me. Can you please talk to him and get him to leave me alone? So he said, well, come back in 3 days. And in the interim, the prophet called Satan and said, this man is complaining about you, that you are constantly bothering him. And he said, me bothering him? He's bothering me. He is trying to get everything that belongs to me. And he doesn't understand what's mine and what isn't mine. And he's constantly gathering all the things of the world which belong to me. If he would stop doing that, I would stop being involved with him. And it's like that. We need to understand what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. What's our purpose? What's our function? What is it that we are trying to accomplish? We need to understand that. Are we trying to accomplish the liberation of our soul, or are we trying to accomplish conquering the world? We all have seen men who've tried to conquer the world. And what's happened to all of them? They've all died. They've all died, and they weren't able to hold on to the world. Napoleon, Hitler, Stalin, so many of these men over the course of history have tried to conquer the world. There's no conquering the world. The world can't be conquered. The world is not a stable place. The world will constantly erupt in your hands. Find what's stable. Find what's real. Find what's trustworthy. Find what's consistent. The world is not consistent. And no matter how much of it you gather, it will not become consistent. So if you're looking for consistency, find the things that are consistent. Be with people who are consistent. Be with people who've understood the nature of their creator, the nature of his qualities, and the fact that we as men need to surrender to those qualities so that we can find true peace within ourselves. There's no other way. This is the path. Every other path takes you into directions and into alleyways and passageways that will lead you to dead ends, and you'll have to start over again, over and over and over again. And this is what happens to so many people in their lives. They find so many wrong paths, and they keep going in wrong paths. The truth is eternal. The truth doesn't change. And the truth is unity. The truth doesn't have differences. And if you are looking at paths that promote differences, they're not the truth. If you're looking at paths that promote hatred, they're not the truth. If you're looking at paths that promote anything other than the divine qualities and gracious attributes of our Lord, they're the wrong path. We have to find a way towards the truth. We have to find a way towards reality. We will only find peace in reality. We will only find truth in reality. And as we find truth, we'll become wise, because the qualities and attributes of God will become our qualities and attributes. And when you act from those qualities and attributes, and when wisdom resides within you, Allah will reside within you. And there will be a merging. There will be a merging of you and Allah, and you will disappear, and you will be part of that truth, part of Allah. We must find that place in this lifetime. This is the true work that we were given. It's the only work. But in the confusion of all of the millions and trillions of energies that come forth from the elements, in the confusion of all the glitters that come forth from the elements, in the confusion of all of the magnetism that come from the elements, we get drawn into all of these worldly colors and glitters and pulls and pushes and assumptions and hallucinations, as if they have something to offer us. They don't. And when we figure that out, we'll stop chasing the illusory. We'll stop chasing illusion, and we'll begin to chase reality. There is only one obsession in this world that has a cure, and that's the obsession to know God. All of the other obsessions lead you nowhere and lead to emptiness. So, from a practical point of view, if we're looking for satisfaction, we have to look to things that will satisfy us. You can't quench your thirst by eating crackers. It won't work. You'll just get thirstier, and you won't quench your search for peace by engaging in the world. We have to engage in God's qualities. So we have to become conscious of this, and we have to become aware of this. And every time we wonder, why is there a problem? It's because we're not engaged with God's qualities. Why are we having difficulty? Because we're not engaged with God's qualities. Why aren't things going the way we think they should? Because we're not using wisdom. We're using our intellect. We're using our mind. And we have to cross the mind. We have to get over the mind. We have to get over the energies of the mind. Each of these energies creates false gods. Each of these energies creates false philosophies. Each of these energies gives us answers that are lies. The truth lies only with God, his gracious nature, and his gracious qualities. And when we really believe that, and when our faith is strong in that, then we'll continue to turn towards that every time we have a difficulty, and the difficulties will disappear. But as we turn to the world to soothe our difficulties, more difficulties occur. People turn towards alcohol to soothe their difficulties. They become addicted to alcohol. People look to drugs to soothe their difficulties. They become addicted to drugs. People look to fame to soothe their difficulties. They have to deal with all the tribulations of losing and gaining fame and staying ahead of it. People think wealth will soothe their difficulties. Then they have to deal with all the tribulations of maintaining their wealth. You can't look for things in the world to make you pure. And it's only through purity that you're going to find truth. And it's only through truth that you're going to find wisdom. And it's only through the combination of truth and wisdom that you're going to find God, because God will find you when you find both truth and wisdom. So we have to reset our way of thinking. And we have to reset it to understanding the nature of our Creator, and understanding that that purity that is our Creator is also within us, and we are meant to become at one with that. And that is our prayer, that Allah gives us a tongue that understands truth, gives us eyes that see truth, gives us ears that hear truth, so that we may become at peace with reality, at peace with our Creator, and at peace with the only thing that is peace, which is our Creator itself. We are meant to be with him, and that should be our prayer. That should be what we turn to. That should be what we pray for. And may those prayers be answered. May he bring us all close to him. May he bring us all into the realm of wisdom and into the realm of truth. May he bring us all into the realm of his qualities. And may we reside in his kingdom, where there's enough room for everyone, no matter how many people there are, because his truth and his kingdom are without end and cannot be diminished. May that be the fate for each of us. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.